No, I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. As I said in my opening remarks, I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks.
Greg Gutfeld has just dropped some big news about Barack Obama that's turning everything we thought we knew on its head. Known for his sharp and funny style on Fox News, Gutfeld loves to stir up trouble and get people talking. This time, he's found out things about Obama that don't match up with what we used to see in public. What has Gutfeld discovered that could shake up our views about Obama's time as president? Join us to explore this shocking revelation and uncover what's hidden beneath a seemingly perfect legacy. The strange side of a presidency. In 2021, Gutfeld launched his own show, Gutfeld. This late-night program shook things up by mixing comedy with political news, making it stand out from the rest. Gutfeld is far from your typical political commentator. If you've ever seen him on TV, you know his style. He's known for delivering his opinions with humor, sarcasm, and a willingness to make jokes about nearly anything, especially when it comes to politics.
Does the commissioner want to dump firefighters who love Trump?
But what explosive truths are waiting behind the curtain, ready to redefine everything we thought we knew? Stay tuned, because we're just getting started. Anything that Greg Gutfeld considers overly arrogant or hypocritical is fair game for his critique. His approach is not universally appealing, precisely because he has shaped his public persona as a defiant figure who isn't afraid to oppose mainstream attitudes and voice unpopular views. His commentary leans strongly conservative, and he frequently criticizes what he views as liberal media and cultural absurdities. This stance has attracted a sizable audience that appreciates his blend of humor with political analysis. Yet this same stance has also made him a divisive character, criticized by some as overly confrontational and dismissive of differing viewpoints. Unsurprisingly, given his confrontational style, Gutfeld has been at the center of several controversies. One notable incident happened in 2009 during an episode of Red Eye, where he made an offhand joke about Canada's military role in Afghanistan, implying that they were not actively involved, which caused an uproar given Canada's significant contributions to the war effort at that time. Another contentious moment occurred in 2014 when he commented on the media's extensive coverage of Prince's death, suggesting it was excessive. This comment upset many fans of the musician and those who felt Gutfeld's remarks were insensitive. These examples typify Gutfeld's tendency to stir controversy and engage in provocative discourse, which has been a significant aspect of his media persona. Leaks always add fuel to any high-profile situation, and the one in question was no different. A collection of documents was unintentionally released to the public, containing sensitive information that was supposed to remain confidential within a prominent organization. The leaked data included a variety of communications such as emails, meeting notes, and even some recorded conversations. This was not just a single file leak, but rather a substantial disclosure involving multiple types of documents, all of which were never intended for public view. Each part of the leaked conversation gave a clearer picture of what was happening behind the scenes, and the surprising details were eye-opening. The comments made by the organization's leaders, once shared outside their private settings, could have caused serious trouble. The leak didn't just reveal what was said in these meetings, but also how they were said, showing a very different side of the organization than what was presented to the public. This difference made people talk, with many starting to question the intentions and honesty of those in charge. The information came from someone inside the organization with access to important details who decided to become a whistleblower. This person, who held a mid to high-level position, grew more and more uncomfortable with what was happening internally and decided to reveal the truth. Because they had access to private conversations and meetings, they were able to make this leak happen. Whistleblowers are often caught in the middle of big controversies, and this case was no different. At first, no one knew who the whistleblower was because their identity was kept secret to protect them from any backlash. But that didn't stop people from guessing. Inside and outside the organization, everyone was trying to figure out who had both the motive and ability to pull off such a big leak. Some thought the whistleblower was just fed up with the leadership and believed that going public was the only way to bring change. Others suspected it might have been someone angry at the company or someone with a personal grudge. making the situation even more complicated. As the guessing game continued, more questions arose about the real reasons behind the leak. Some believed the whistleblower was genuinely trying to expose the truth, while others thought the person had their own hidden agenda. Whatever the reason, the leak caused serious damage, not just to the organization's reputation, but also to the trust of its employees and the public. The information didn't come out all at once. Instead, it was shared bit by bit over time. This slow release seemed like a planned strategy, probably meant to keep the story in the news for as long as possible. It looked like the whistleblower carefully picked which reporters or media outlets to involve, ensuring the information got the most attention. The documents that were leaked caused a big stir because of how clear and detailed they were. One major reveal was the disagreement happening among the organization's leaders. The emails and meeting notes showed that there were two main groups, one pushing for secretive, aggressive actions, and another wanting to be more honest and transparent. This internal battle, which had been hidden, was suddenly out in the open for everyone to see, and it could no longer be ignored. The hidden agenda behind Obama's polished public image. The leaks also exposed the organization's tricky ways of handling public relations. The documents showed how they tried to control what the media said about them, making it look like everything was going well when in fact it wasn't. They were more focused on showing a clean, polished image to the public, which the leaks revealed was more about controlling the narrative than being truthful. One of the most shocking things revealed was the unethical actions some leaders were involved in. These included lying and giving false information to important people outside the company to protect the organization's image. These actions were talked about in private meetings, showing that some leaders knew what was happening but chose to keep it hidden. It wasn't until the leaks came out that these secrets were made public. The information wasn't just hidden from public discussion, but was often kept out of sight on purpose. Decisions to move forward with certain policies, even though there were known risks and possible harm, showed a pattern of putting benefits before doing what was right. The leaked audio recordings made this even more personal, as the public could now hear the leaders themselves, often sounding indifferent or willing to take risks in private conversations. These recordings allowed people to get a closer look at the inner workings and personal attitudes of the leaders. In these clips, some leaders seemed to brush off concerns from others, while a few clearly understood the risks, but decided to push forward anyway, driven by goals like profit or power. The leaked information revealed key issues, including internal conflicts and questionable decisions during Barack Obama's presidency. It showed a gap between public statements and behind-the-scenes actions, especially with foreign policy, the Affordable Care Act, ACA, and Libya interventions. The documents also highlighted how public stories were shaped, often differing from internal discussions. While the leaks gave insight, they left the public confused with incomplete information, like Obama's mixed support for the ACA, without clarity on whether it was strategic or due to real doubts. It didn't stop there. More accusations came up about Obama's connections and decisions even before he became president, linking him to controversial figures. This stirred up debates about these relationships and how they might have influenced his time in office. These new pieces of information painted a picture of a presidency constantly juggling political pressures and ethical choices. For some people, these leaks might feel like proof of the doubts or criticisms they've had all along. For others, the mix of rumors and unclear claims could cause confusion, making them rethink how they see Obama's presidency. It could even affect how his time in office is remembered in history. The information hints that Obama, often seen as a game-changing leader, may have been more involved in political strategies than many believed. This could change how his supporters and the general public view how he handled tough issues, and it might make people question how effective and trustworthy his administration really was. If the public starts to see that there was a lot of disagreement within his team, it might hurt Obama's image as a strong and unifying leader. People may begin to wonder if he was as successful at keeping his team and goals in sync as he appeared to be. Even though some of these connections or past associations are just speculation, they could still harm Obama's reputation. Whether the claims are true or not, just talking about them in public can leave a mark and affect how people remember him. These leaks might reinforce negative opinions about Obama among those who already didn't support him. At the same time, they might plant seeds of doubt among some of his supporters. How lasting the impact will be really depends on how people decide to interpret and understand the leaked information, and that will shape how Obama's presidency is viewed in the years ahead. The idea that Obama may have been more connected to certain controversial figures than he admitted is still mostly based on bits and pieces of information. Without solid proof, these speculations may worry or interest some people, but they really just stir up debate rather than change how most people see him. The leaked information offers a more complex look at Obama's time in office, showing both strong support and some second guessing when it came to big policies like the Affordable Care Act, ACA. While Obama was the public face of healthcare reform, the leaks suggest there may have been more internal disagreements than we knew about. This complicates the story of how the law was passed, but doesn't take away from the fact that it was still a major achievement. When it comes to foreign policy, especially the decision to intervene in Libya, the leaks show a lot of disagreement within Obama's team. This is a big contrast to the united image that was shown to the public and the world. These details might make people wonder if the administration fully thought through all the risks and possible outcomes before taking action. The difference between what Obama said publicly and what was discussed in private could lead to a fresh look at how decisions were made and how open his administration really was. The effect of these leaks, though, depends a lot on how people see the truth and importance of the information. Some will feel that their doubts or criticisms about Obama are now confirmed, while others might see the leaks as politically driven attacks with little real proof. Some people accused Obama of being dishonest, claiming the leaked documents showed a difference between what he said in public and what was really going on behind the scenes in his administration. They argued that his connections and the internal conflicts revealed by the leaks suggested a lack of transparency and possibly some ethical problems during his presidency.
When this information or reports, whether true or false, surface,
The debate over the leaks quickly became a major point of division. On social media, the argument heated up, with hashtags both defending and criticizing Obama popping up everywhere. This back and forth only made the political divide wider, with people either standing by Obama or speaking out against him. It's a clear example of how leaks like this can deepen already existing political and ideological divides. On the other hand, Obama's supporters pointed out that having disagreements and tough decisions behind the scenes is just part of running any government. They argued that this doesn't mean there was wrongdoing or bad leadership. Instead, they said people should look at the leaked information alongside Obama's achievements and the difficulties he faced while he was in office. The reaction to the leaks shows how tricky political leadership can be.
Obama. I have read about him, and he's a...
And how differently people interpret these kinds of revelations. As the conversation continues, the long-term impact of these leaks on Obama's legacy will depend on what else gets revealed, how trustworthy the information is, and whether the public is willing to dig deeper into these complicated stories. Some critics argued that the leaks revealed a lack of transparency and accountability during Obama's time in office. They believed the differences between what Obama promised publicly and what was happening privately proved their long-held concerns about his leadership. The reactions to the leaks showed just how divided American politics can be. People saw the same information in completely different ways, depending on their political beliefs. The debate wasn't just about what the leaks contained, but also about why the information was released and how much transparency people expect from their leaders. There was a lot of talk, especially on social media, about whether the timing of the leak was meant to influence public opinion or ongoing political discussions. Some were skeptical, questioning how reliable the leaked information really was, and warning people not to jump to conclusions before all the facts were investigated. In response, Obama tried to calm things down. He reassured his supporters and the public that while the leaks might show a part of how his administration worked behind the scenes, they didn't represent the whole picture of his time in office. He pointed out that governing is complicated, and internal debates are necessary to create thoughtful, effective policies. As people continue to process these revelations, it's still unclear how much they will shape public opinion and how Obama's presidency will be remembered in the long run. The ongoing conversations show how hard it can be to find the truth in a deeply divided society, where leaks can either push for accountability or be used to score political points. The leaks caused a major stir in the political world. sparking heated debates and further dividing public opinion. As the story unfolded, different media outlets took various approaches. Some focused on how this might damage Obama's legacy, while others emphasized the need for more openness in government. The media kept the story alive, discussing it on news shows, online forums, and social media. This constant coverage didn't just shape how people viewed the situation, but it also influenced political conversations, making parties rethink their positions on government transparency and accountability. The intense attention on the leaks also led to calls for stronger protections against unauthorized disclosures. People argued about how to balance national security with the public's right to know. Legal and ethical questions were raised, with experts debating what should happen to those responsible for leaking the information. As the story developed, it became clear that the long-term effects of these leaks on political careers, public trust, and media credibility were still uncertain. The situation showed just how complicated the relationship between politics, the media, and public opinion can be, especially in a world where the line between truth and bias is often blurred. The conversation around the leaks became a starting point for larger discussions about accountability and the ethical responsibilities of politicians and the press. The continued debates and scrutiny showed that the impact of these revelations would be felt for a long time in both political circles and public life. The release of this information has led to confusion among the public, with different people understanding it in different ways. This has only made the existing political divide worse, making it harder for people to have calm, reasonable conversations and come to any kind of agreement. For Obama, the leak presents a serious challenge because it could change how people remember his presidency. It brings up doubts and shines a light on potential flaws that weren't talked about before. These questions aren't just about policies, but also about his leadership style and the way he made decisions. If the public believes the claims, it could hurt his legacy. On the flip side, Greg Gutfeld could see this as an opportunity. The leak gives him new material for his show, helping him build his image as someone who isn't afraid to go against the grain. His bold, sometimes confrontational style might attract more viewers, especially those who enjoy hearing media figures question the mainstream narrative and challenge widely accepted ideas. Leaks like this play a big role in shaping public opinion. They can spark conversations, shift political debates, and change what the media focuses on. However, if the public feels bombarded with too much conflicting information, it can lead to cynicism and distrust. People may start to feel like facts are being twisted to serve political agendas, making it hard to know what's true. As the debate rages on, the effects of these leaks on political transparency, media responsibility, and public trust will continue to be important topics. We still don't know the full impact on the people involved, the political world, or society's trust in both the government and the media. This shows just how tricky and powerful these kinds of leaks can be in today's digital world. Was Obama's administration really about transparency? Or was it all a polished facade hiding deeper secrets? Dive deeper, and subscribe as we uncover startling truths that might just change everything you thought you knew about one of America's most talked about leaders.